Hello children, this is your teacher Makendra today. So I hope you all are doing fine there at home. Okay, today I'm going to deal with prose. I think most of you are having this book. If you have it, just take them out, take it out, and turn to the first lesson. The name of the lesson is The Best Christmas Present in the World by Michael Morpurgo. So I will tell you the story and I will read out some of the important facts which are given in the textbook. So don't forget that you need to take out your book and a pen and a notepad for you to note down everything whichever I'll be telling you today. Okay. The first word which I told you there, which is there in your textbook, it's significant, which means notable and important. Okay, it's there in your book, so underline it and kindly write down the slides over there. Okay, and the next one is junk shop. Junk shop, right? Just write that down, the meaning of that. Junk shop, waste material shop it is. The roll top desk. Roll top desk, a stand, desk or table with drawer. Okay, oak, wood of the oak rich brown tree. The next one, clumsily, carelessly or hurriedly. Okay, move on to the next one. Mended, to repair. Scorch marks, a discoloration caused by heat. Veneer, a thin decorative covering. Taken their role on. It's a phrasal verb. Damage, stuck fast, shut tight. The next slide, brute force, which means done with strength without aids or thoughts. Sharply, sudden and intense. Shallow, less deep portions of water or some hard material. Shaky, trembling, shaking. Curiosity, investigating, exploring. See kids, if you are not able to write them down, as we don't have time, so you can just take out your mobile phone and just take the snaps of them. So you can have that in your mobile phone and you can write them later. Okay, so the next one is scruples. Feeling that makes you hesitate to do something wrong. Trench, a long, narrow ditch or hole dug in the ground during warfare or war. Crypts, possessing a certain degree of firmness and freshness or lively. Frosty, cold or chilly. Frieds, a name used to represent the German people as a group or army people. They are known as Frieds. Next one, no man's land, ground between trenches. Tommy, British soldiers. Parapet, a fortification consisting of a wall. Snaps, type of distilled alcoholic beverage often with a fruit flavoring. Sausage, a food made of ground meat. The next one, Hans Wolf, a male given name of German origin. Cello, a large stringed instrument of the violin family with 4 strings. Boarded up, covered with wooden boards. Muddle-headed, confused person. Lopsided, not even or balanced. Next slide, hurdles, crowd together to mingle confusedly without order or system. Marzipan, a confection of almond paste, sugar and egg white. Dusseldorf, a city in Germany. Ration, limited food supplies. Bathsheba, in the Old Testament, the wife of Uriah and later of David. It's a Bible term actually. Conservatory, a greenhouse or hothouse for the display of plants. Wicker, a flexible branch used in weaving baskets and furniture. Suffused, to spread through, especially as a liquid color. Tenderly, gently and sweetly. Okay children, those were the different and the difficult words meaning vocabularies which are there in the textbook. I hope that you have noted them down, and if you have missed them, you can always take out your mobile phone and then take the picture of them, or you can take the snaps of them. So, okay, before telling you the summary and going to start the text from the lesson of the best Christmas present in the world, I just have to tell you that the name of the author. The name of the author is Michael Morpurgo, and his full name is Sir Michael Andrew Bridge Morpurgo, and he was born on the 5th October of 1943. He is British, and he is a novelist, you would say, and a poet, a playwright, and also a writer. He has done a lot for the children, first of all, and he's taking keen interest to write only for the children. So one of his art, you would say, one of his story, which was actually on the First World War, that is between the German and the British, the war which had happened. Okay, so this is all about that in that text. The name of the lesson is The Best Christmas Present in the World. Okay, children, as I told you that you are prepared with your book right now, as I'm having one in my hand, so please do follow. Okay, that will be also shown on your screen over there. Before you read, there are some dates or periods of time in the history of the world that are so significant that everyone knows and remembers them. The story you will read mentions one such date and event, a war between the British and the Germans in 1914. Can you guess which war it was? Okay, here the story is about the war between the Germans and the British, which was occurred in the year 1914. That was during the World War I, the First World War actually. So can you guess, what was the date? Okay, it was on the 4th of 1914, where Britishers actually, they declared war on Germans. The reason for that was actually that Germans, they did not want to take back their troops from Belgium. That was the reason why they have declared war on Germany at that time. So there are some important dates also over there given, and important years and events, right? You just have to find out. The first one, do you know which events the dates below refer to? A, 4th July 1776. B, 17 December 1903. C, 6th August 1945. D, 30th January 1948. E, 12th April 1961. And F, 20th July 1969. Okay, that you can find out. It's there at the back of the book actually, at the page number 23. Okay, I want you to do this assignment and just find out, what events took place during those years and dates and all that. Okay, so as I was telling you, that this work of Michael Morpurgo is a beautiful work. You know, it's not a story, but there's something that has to be conveyed to every one of us. It's about war. Okay, let's take the first look of the story, that how it begins. So Michael Morpurgo himself is one of the characters in this story, you would say. Okay, see, in this character, he played well, and he is the person who will be actually at the end will be doing justice to the story. I would tell you that. Okay, so how it begins, let me just take you there. Fine. So Michael Morpurgo, one fine day, he was actually out for a walk, or say you would say a shopping or something like that, and then he saw something in a junk shop. See, that was the word that I had started in the beginning. I had given to you in the beginning, that was a junk shop. And what does it mean? A shop where all those garbages, the old valuables are kept and are supposed to be sold. So such shops are called junk shops, where all those materials are kept there. Okay, So one fine day, Mr. Michael Morpurgo was out for a walk and shopping, you would say, and then he just saw a shop, a junk shop, and he found this roll top desk that is appearing on your screen right now, the roll top desk, and that was quite expensive. He wanted to buy that before. I mean, like, he had that kind of interest to buy that thing before. But since it was damn expensive, just because of that, he never had the chance to buy it. So this was the time where he found that in a junk shop, and it was going in a low price. So he wanted to buy that. Actually, that is coming onto your screen right now, the roll top desk. And this was actually bought by him from that shop in Bridport in England. Bridport, okay, that is the name of the place where he bought that roll top desk. Okay, and what he did, he just took that to his garage in his house and to his workroom, and what he did, he was trying to, explore it, investigate it, that what is actually problem with this roll top desk. Okay, it was an old roll top desk, and it was made of an oak wood. Okay, that is the name of a tree which is completely, rich in brown color, you would say. Okay, one of the, a big one which has a strength, a big tree, oak tree. Okay, so that roll top desk is actually made of that wood, oak wood. Okay, and it was difficult for him to, make it proper. He wants to restore it. He wants to restore it because he just wants it to look great so that he can keep it somewhere in his house. So he was repairing it. He was trying to repair it. So what happened when he was trying to open one of the drawers, actually he found a box over there inside that roll top desk, inside the drawer. Okay, what was that? A small tin box which was inside that. And when he was trying to take it out, he was not able to because it was stuck. Since the roll top desk was old, just because of that, it was difficult for him to open that drawer. So in that case, what he had to do, he just, use his brute force, and then he opened it and he took it out. And then when he took it out, he just found out the box, as I told you, the tin box, and inside that box, there was a letter. And on that letter, there was something written on it. It was December 26. It was written on that. And on top of that letter, it was written, Jim's last letter. Okay, now here the story is going to begin. Okay, Mr. Michael Morpurgo was feeling, ashamed of that he has opened it, and now he's about to read that letter also, because we are not supposed to read anyone's letter, right? Yeah, we are not supposed to do that. But since it was an orphan letter, which he doesn't know the owner actually, so he had to do it because he has to find out the owner of that letter. So for that purpose, he could not, stop his curiosity and all. So he just opened the paper, the letter, and then he read it. Okay, and what it was, let me tell you kids, it's a beautiful story, and you are going to be mesmerized whenever you're going to hear the story. So the story in that letter, it's about Jim McPherson. Okay, let me just write it for you. Jim McPherson. Okay, this is the letter which was written by Jim McPherson, and this letter was supposed to be written to Connie McPherson. Okay, Connie McPherson. So Jim McPherson is a soldier, all right, according to the letter which Mr. Michael Morpurgo has read. Jim McPherson is a soldier. He's a British soldier, okay, and Connie McPherson is his wife, okay, And Mr. Jim McPherson is actually on the battlefield having that war. Remember I told you, 4th August 1914. So that was about the war. Mr. Jim McPherson was actually out there for a war which was between the Germans and the British. All right. And he used to write a letter. He write letters to Connie McPherson, his beloved wife, and he does it every time, you know. But actually, one incident had happened. Let me just like tell you what it had happened and all. What was that actually that had happened? Jim McPherson narrated everything in that letter. There was nothing left. And after reading that letter, Mr. Michael Morpurgo was completely mesmerized, and he was thinking that he has to personally go to that lady, the owner of this letter actually, and he should post it to her. Okay, so let me tell you what were written in that letter. Okay, it was about the total complete scenario of the war which took place with Jim McPherson. He narrated everything, that how the war began actually, but it was not about the war, you know. It was something about the Christmas. Okay, before starting to tell you about Christmas, do you know the meaning of Christmas Eve? Christmas Eve, do you know actually what is Christmas Eve? Okay, it's coming to your screen right now. Christmas Eve means the day before the Christmas day. When do we celebrate Christmas? 25th, right? 25th December. So the day before the Christmas day is taking place, before that Christmas Eve usually occurred. That is the 24th December, okay? The evening of 24th December, or the day before the 25th December, that is the Christmas day, that's called the Christmas Eve, all right. So Jim McPherson narrated in his letter saying that it was during the time of Christmas when all this happened. And you know how did it happen? The Germans were actually in the other side, okay, as they were preparing for war, and the British were this side, and also they were into their trenches. You know what is trenches? What is trench or trenches? It's coming onto your screen again. What are trenches actually? Those are a narrow hole which is actually dig for the purpose of war, where these soldiers are hiding themselves over there and they can shoot their enemies. Okay, so it's coming to you right now on your screen, the trench. Okay, now you can look at that and you can understand what it is actually. Okay, so British were this side in their trenches, and those German, they were in the other side. You know, one of the persons actually, he shouted and he jumped out of the trench of German soldiers, and that was a German soldier actually, who came and then he was waving to these people with white flag. You know, he was wishing these people by saying, "Happy Christmas, Happy Christmas. Don't shoot, please." They were saying like that. And British soldiers, they were so astonished to see that how come the enemy are coming towards us and they are just wishing us Happy Christmas. And without delaying also, that is according to Jim McPherson, okay? We also greeted them by saying, "Same to you, Merry Christmas." So after that, like in the middle of war, that is supposed to be happening during the First World War. Just imagine this one was taking place with these people. Actually, he was quite, what do you say, completely horrified, first of all, because he was thinking that it may be a trick. He may be those people must be coming to them and they are going to shoot them later. That's what Mr. Jim McPherson was thinking. But actually, he could not stop his troops. All of them, they huddles up, they overcrowded. The German soldiers and the Britishers, they were standing on no man's land. You know what is no man's land? That is again coming onto your screen, no man's land, okay? What is the meaning of no man's land? It was actually given in the vocabulary slides which I asked you to note down probably, and I asked you to take the snap of that in your mobile phone. So no man's land, okay, with apostrophe S. And the meaning of that is the open ground. What is it? The open ground in between of the battlefield, okay? There the German soldiers are actually in their own trenches, and here the British soldiers are in their own trenches, and in between of them there's a huge battlefield, a ground which is called the no man's land, okay? And you could see that over there on your screen right now. No man's land is actually the place where you can be hit if you are running. Suppose if you are a military man or something, you will have to run on the no man's land, and then you could be targeted by the enemies, okay? So that's no man's land. Fine. So everyone, the British soldiers, the German soldiers, they gathered on the no man's land, and they just like started playing, with one another. They started wishing one another and all that. And it was Mr. Hans Wolf, the German head, you would say, the military man or the soldier, the main soldier of the German troops. He just came to Jim McPherson and he just wished him. He just, shook his hand and said, "Congratulations, it's a Christmas day today." He just shook his hand and then he said, "Wow, I just can't believe it that we are celebrating Christmas in the middle of war." So the German soldier, they are supposed to be called as Fritz, okay? Fritz. The German soldier are known as Fritz, the soldier of Germany. Like in India, what are the troops or the soldiers of India called? Jawans, right? Jawan. That is the term for our Indian soldiers, right? So it just fits for the German people. The German soldier, they call them Fritz, okay? And for those English soldiers, they call them Tommy, okay? So Tommy, English soldiers or British soldiers, and Fritz, that is German soldiers, all right? So one of the Fritz, as I told you, the head, the military man, he just came to Jim McPherson and he shook his hand and he said that it's a Christmas day, so I believe that we shouldn't be destroying our festival. We should be celebrating it. And Mr. Jim McPherson was really, feeling proud of that thing that has happened over there. And it was peculiar for him that it is occurring like this, that too in the middle of the war. Okay. So Mr. Fritz, that is the one of the German soldiers, he himself told that his name is Hans Wolf. Okay. Let me tell you again what is Hans. Okay. Hans means it's actually for those people who lives or who resides in Germany, they are called Hans. Okay. So when the German soldier, the military man or the head of them, just came to Jim McPherson, he said that I'm Hans Wolf. Okay. Hans is actually for the people who stays in Germany. Okay. So Hans Wolf. So he was saying himself that I'm Hans Wolf. Nice meeting you. The same way Mr. Jim McPherson was also introducing himself as I'm Captain Jim McPherson. Okay, he is the captain. He was the captain actually, the head of the British soldiers. So at that time, you could see the talk between these two people, Jim McPherson and Hans Wolf. Okay, Jim McPherson was telling every stories of England to the French soldier, that is to Hans Wolf. And Mr. Hans Wolf was saying that he's having snaps. You know what is snaps? That is coming onto your screen right now. The spelling is this. Okay. So Hans Wolf, that is supposed to be the German soldier, was telling Captain Jim McPherson of British soldier that he is having snaps also for them to enjoy. I just want to tell you that what is snaps, actually that is on your screen right now. Snap is actually a beverage. It's an alcoholic beverage which is actually used to be like taken whenever there is some celebration going on. So that's called Snaps. It's on your screen right now. So Hans Wolff, that is actually the French soldier, was telling Jim McPherson that he is having snaps and they can have fun over there. And so as Captain Jim McPherson was telling also that he's got marzipan. You know what is that? Marzipan? Now it's on your screen. Marzipan. Okay? It's a kind of a cake which is usually made of almond. And some paste of almond will be put into that one, and the white of eggs also will be included in that cake. So that particular cake is called marzipan. So that is one of the favorite dishes of Captain Jim McPherson. So he was also giving his marzipan to Hans Wolff. And even though, though they were in the middle of the war, these people, they were sharing their rations. Now, let me tell you what is ration actually. That was also mentioned to you before, whenever I was actually asking you to write down them, whenever they were coming onto your screen. Ration is what? What is the meaning of ration? The meaning of ration is the limited supplies of food. Limited supplies of food which is given to you. Okay? And for that purpose, you have to be careful whenever you are sharing your rations also, because they may get over. Yes. So without having that fear, Hans Wolff, the French soldier, was giving his portion of rations to Captain Jim McPherson and his troops. So does Mr. Jim McPherson also. He was doing the same thing. And after that, one of the French soldiers, he just came from nowhere, and then he just brought one football, a football, a soccer, you would say, because football is another sports. It's called soccer. Okay? Soccer, it's actually a football. And if you're going to say football, that is another game which is played at United States of America. That's probably we call it rugby. Okay? Rugby is played in United States of America, and that's called football for them. In India, we are having that football actually which we play with foot. So that's football for us, which we actually kick with the foot. Soccer, they call it. The American people, they call it soccer. The football actually for us which we played by foot. Okay. So one of the soldiers from Germany, a German French soldier, he brought one football, actually a soccer, you would say, a ball to play soccer. Okay, a ball to play soccer. So all of them, they started playing, and Captain Jim McPherson was speechless. Mr. Hans Wolff of German soldier was speechless. They don't have anything to say but just to watch the game. The British soldiers and the German soldiers, they are playing football on the battlefield, on the no man's land. Can you imagine? And at that time when they were playing, Mr. Hans Wolff was telling Captain Jim McPherson, saying that see, this is the way that how we can resolve war. By playing. Why can't we do that? In spite of taking the guns and then shoot out people and all on the battlefield, and there will be many children orphaned and many women, widows and all, they become widowers. Lots of people will be dying innocently. So at that time, it was a kind of a talk that these two people were having, Hans Wolff and Jim McPherson. Yes, we should have been resolving it by playing something, cricket or football or anything like that, in spite of taking the guns and then shoot out people and then declaring wars. Yes. So that was the thing that was happening over there. And that to that time, at the World War I, which was supposed to be the time when, all those enemies, you would say, they were just battling with one another. Yes. So this is the story from that one. After he finished writing that letter, it was the narration by Captain Jim McPherson. Don't forget, this is the narration of that letter which Michael Morpurgo the writer is narrating to us, okay? And the person who has written the letter is Captain Jim McPherson. He has finished writing that letter. He has already done written it, okay? So now the thing is that now, I mean, like he was thinking that now I have to post this letter personally to that owner of this letter. That letter was supposed to be for Mistress Connie McPherson. Remember, Connie McPherson is the wife of Captain Jim McPherson, and that was the last letter written by Jim McPherson for his wife Connie McPherson, and that was supposed to be returned to Connie McPherson. You know how Connie McPherson lost this letter? Let me tell you. I mean, like there was a fire happened, broke in his place. His house was completely burned, okay, because of fire, some fire mishap. And that time, I mean, like hodgepodge things happened and all. I mean, like people were shifting her to a nursing home and also that's how she lost it. She lost that roll top desk. That letter was inside that roll top desk, okay? And it was having that scorch marks also. It's coming to your screen right now. What is scorch marks? Scorch marks means whenever something is burned, okay, due to fire mishap or something like that. That's called scorch marks, you would say, okay? Scorch marks. So it's on your screen right now, scorch marks. So that roll top desk was, I mean, like it was not completely burned, and just because of that only she lost it. Well, all those things happened, I mean, like, during the time of the fire mishap. Okay. Now, when all those places were completely burned and Mistress Connie McPherson was shifted to nursing home, okay, and that time she lost this roll top desk where this letter was inside. Remember that, okay? Note it also. And that's how Mr. Michael Morpurgo found it in a junk shop, and he read the letter, and now he's about to post the letter personally to Connie McPherson. Okay. And after reading that letter, Michael Morpurgo was thinking that this letter has to reach to that woman somehow. So he went in search of Connie McPherson. He went to that particular address where she used to live, but he found no one over there. It was completely burned. That place was completely burned up. As I told you that some fire mishap had happened over there, took place. So just because of that, it was completely burned up. Okay. And after that, he searched everywhere. He asked one old man who was on his sleepers. Okay, an old man, he asked him, "Do you know where Mistress Connie McPherson lives?" And that old man said, "Oh, that lady, she's a lovely lady. Yeah, she used to live here, but she was kind of a muddlehead." Yeah, I told you this word in the beginning, okay? Muddlehead. What is the meaning of that? Muddlehead. Muddlehead is actually kind of confused person, or you would say a silly person or a stupid person. But in that context, you cannot say that Connie McPherson is a stupid person, but she was confused. Yes, she was confused. Okay, so the term for this one is confused. The meaning of muddlehead. Okay, so that old man was telling that, oh, that lovely lady, Mistress Connie McPherson, oh, she's a lovely one, but actually she's a little bit muddle-headed also, muddle-headed, and she has been taken to nursing home ever since that fire mishap has taken place. So now, this is the last part, and this is going to be interesting part, you know. There, the author, our writer, went to the nursing home in search of Connie McPherson, just to give that letter. And it was in the month of December, on Christmas Day. Now, Michael Morpurgo is going to the nursing home to hand that letter to Connie McPherson. And you know, that lady now, she is 101 years old. Connie McPherson is 101 years old. Okay? She is not able to walk. she is in her wheelchair actually. She needs supports. When Mr. Michael Morpurgo went to meet her, Connie McPherson was completely, she was surprised to see him. And she was thinking that her husband, Captain Jim McPherson, has come back. Yes, that's what happened. She thought like that, oh, it's my husband. Because when she turned back, she was onto her wheelchair, and when she was called by Michael Morpurgo, Connie McPherson, she looked back and then she thought that her husband has come. That was a beautiful scenario that time when she thought like that. And by knowing that even, Morpurgo did not say that he is not Jim McPherson, but he is the person who has found that letter and he is going to return to the owner of that letter. But Mr. Morpurgo was not able to say anything. He was speechless. He didn't say that he is Mr. Michael Morpurgo, the author of this story. But he just, whatever the lady asked him to do so, he did that. When Connie McPherson asked him, oh, it's been a long time that I have been waiting for you. Where were you? I used to read your letters a lot. And I have prepared your marzipan cake, that marzipan cake I told you, no? I have prepared you that marzipan cake, which is one of your favorite dishes. So Jim McPherson, actually, Michael Morpurgo was speechless, didn't say anything. And then the old lady was just, grabbing his hand, and then she was saying that finally you have come. This letter is one of the best Christmas present in the world for me. That's what the last words she uttered, and that was the end of the story. Okay? Hope you children have understood the meaning of this story at least. What is war? We never wanted war. We don't want war. It can be resolved by, by talks, and sometimes by doing something which is not actually killings. Why we have to do that by killing innocent people? There are lots of people who are dying. To avoid such things, we have to understand these things, that we have to stop such wars and all. Okay? So, before finishing the story of this chapter, I have some questions which are there in your book also. Okay? The answers are given over there on your screen. Okay, the first one is given for you. That is the comprehension check. What did the author find in a junk shop? Second one, what did he find in a secret drawer? What do you think had put it in there? Who do you think had put it in there? Okay. The answer is there on your screen. You can just take out your mobile phone and then just take the snap of it. Okay, the next one. Who had written the letter to whom and when? Why was the letter written? What was the wonderful thing that had happened? What jobs did Hans Wolff and Jim McPherson have when they were not soldiers? Had Hans Wolff ever been to Dorset? Why did he say he knew it? Do you think Jim McPherson came back from the war? How do you know this? The answer is on the screen. Why did the author go to Bridport? How old was Mrs. McPherson now? Where was she? That's again coming onto your screen. And the last comprehension check. Who did Connie McPherson think her visitor was? Which sentence in the text shows that the visitors did not try to hide his identity? Which sentence in the text shows that the visitor did not try to hide his identity? That is the last question from that comprehension check, and it's there on the screen right now. I hope that you have taken the snaps of it, because we are running short of time. So that's it, children. And now we are just moving to the last part of this entire lesson. Okay, as I told you, children, that we are having a hard time over here because of the COVID-19. I really suggest you also And it's my humble request to you all, please stay home, take care of your parents, take care of yourself, and take care of your elders also who are there at home. Hashtag stay home, stay safe, and be healthy. God bless you.